What if I told you that the reason you veer while walking, that subtle pull toward one side, that brief pause before your body figures out which direction is straight, has nothing to do with your legs whatsoever? And what if I told you that the true source is something taking place inside your neck right now that no one has ever properly explained to you? Because here's what I witness time and time again. Someone begins veering while they walk. They reach for nearby walls when they get up. Their body pauses in ways it never did before. They visit their doctor and they hear the same advice every single time. Be careful where you step. Use the handrail. Maybe it's simply aging. So they return home, try several leg exercises, and nothing improves. The drifting remains, the hesitation remains, and eventually they believe it is unavoidable. I am here today to tell you it is not unavoidable. I am going to explain exactly what is taking place inside your body using clear, simple language. Then I'm going to guide you through 8 exercises that address the actual problem directly. No fitness center, no special equipment, just a wall, a chair, and fewer than 12 minutes each day. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to press that button and activate the bell so you never miss another health tip created especially for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If you don't, type 0 to let me know how I can create better content for you. What's really going on inside your body? Here is the reality that most people never hear. When you begin drifting while you walk, the issue is almost never your legs. At the lower part of your skull sits a structure known as the cerebellum, your brain's balance control center. Every moment you remain upright, it receives information from your muscles, your joints, your inner ear, and your eyes, then uses all of it to make continuous tiny adjustments that keep you walking in a straight line. When it functions properly, you never notice it. You simply walk. When it begins operating below its best capacity, you drift. You reach for walls, and every step feels slightly less stable. Now here is the part that changes everything. The arteries that deliver blood to your cerebellum pass through the bones of your neck, one vertebra after another. So, when those neck muscles become persistently tight from years of poor posture or previous injuries, they quietly squeeze those arteries and reduce the blood flow reaching your cerebellum. Not severely, but enough over months and years to gradually weaken your balance and coordination. That is the true mechanism. And correcting it means treating both sides, releasing the tightness in your neck, and retraining the cerebellum directly. That is exactly what these 8 exercises accomplish. The exercises. We will work in 2 sections today. Section 1 releases neck tension. Section 2 trains your cerebellum. You need both. They complement each other. Section 1, neck mobility exercises. Exercise 1, base of neck rotation release. Why this is important. The area where your neck connects to your upper back is one of the 2 regions most likely to develop stiffness that compresses the arteries supplying your cerebellum. This movement gently mobilizes that precise area. How to perform it: sit in a solid chair with your back upright. Gently lower your chin slightly toward your chest. Place 2 fingertips against the bony bump at the very bottom of your neck, that noticeable vertebra where the neck joins the upper back. Slowly turn your head to the right while using your fingertips to apply light guiding pressure in the same direction. Move only within a comfortable range. You should feel a gentle stretching sensation, never pain. Hold at that comfortable end position for 3 to 4 seconds. Slowly return to the middle. Repeat on the left side. Perform 5 repetitions on each side. Practice once in the morning and once in the evening. Most people notice their mobility gradually improving during the first 1 to 2 weeks as the stiffness slowly decreases. Exercise 2, side neck stretch. Why is this important? The large diagonal muscle extending from behind your ear down to your collarbone is one of the most consistently overworked muscles in the body. When it remains tight, it places ongoing pressure on the structures passing through your cervical spine, including the arteries supplying your cerebellum. How to perform it. Place one hand flat over your collarbone on one side and press gently downward to stabilize the tissue. Slowly lean your head toward the opposite shoulder and raise your chin just slightly upward. You should notice a distinct, deep stretch running along the entire side of your neck. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds while breathing slowly and evenly. Do not pull or force the movement. Allow gravity and time to do the work. Return slowly to the middle and repeat on the opposite side. Perform 2 repetitions on each side during every session. Exercise 3, neck self-massage. Why does this matter? Stretching improves muscle length. Massage releases the deeper tissue tightness that develops over many years and does not respond to stretching alone, the kind that quietly reduces the space surrounding those cervical arteries. How to perform it. Using the fingertips of both hands, start at the base of your skull and apply firm circular pressure while working slowly down both sides of your neck toward the bottom. Spend approximately 60 to 90 seconds on each side. Look for spots that feel noticeably tighter or more sensitive than the surrounding tissue. Spend a little extra time on those areas, not pressing painfully, but applying steady, gentle pressure until you notice the tissue beginning to relax. Do this once each day, ideally in the morning before or after the other 2 neck exercises. Section 2, Cerebellum Retraining Exercises. Exercise 4, Slow Motion Straight Line Walk. Why does this matter? Before you can retrain your walking pattern, you need to slow it down enough that your brain can consciously register and correct each step. Slow motion walking strips away the momentum that normally covers up your weaknesses and forces every muscle and every balance signal to work with full intention. How to do it? Find a clear hallway. Place one hand lightly on the wall if you need support to start. Begin walking at the slowest pace you can manage, so slow that each step takes a full 3 to 4 seconds to complete. Lift your foot deliberately, pause briefly in the air, reach your heel slightly forward, and lower it to the floor with full control. Feel your weight shift through your foot before taking the next step. Walk 10 steps forward. Turn carefully using small marching steps. Walk 10 steps back. That is 1 set. Complete 3 sets. What to focus on? Look straight ahead, not down at your feet. Your balance system needs to work while your eyes are focused on where you are going, not where your feet are landing. The wobbling you feel during this exercise is your cerebellum actively working. That is not a problem, that is the entire point. Progress tip. Once this feels smooth, try it on carpet versus hardwood. The slight surface change forces your nervous system to adapt and generalize the pattern, which is what you need for real-world safety. Exercise 5, Tandem Heel-to-Toe Walk. Why does this matter? This directly simulates the kind of walking that causes the most falls. Narrow hallways, stepping carefully around furniture, navigating tight spaces. It trains dynamic balance, which is your balance while you are actually in motion, not standing still. How to do it? Stand at one end of a clear hallway with one hand lightly touching the wall. Place your right foot directly in front of your left, so that the heel of your right foot nearly touches the toes of your left. Then, step your left foot forward in the same way, heel to toe in a perfectly straight line. Take 10 steps forward, turn carefully, take 10 steps back. That is 1 set. Complete 2 sets. What to focus on? Keep your eyes forward, not down at your feet. Walk slowly and with full control. If you need to touch the wall for a moment, that is completely fine. Touch it and continue. Consistency matters far more than perfection here. Progress tip. As this becomes easier, try it with your arms crossed over your chest instead of extended for balance. This removes the arm compensation and forces your core and ankles to take on more of the stabilizing work. Exercise 6. Standing marches with cross-body tap. Why does this matter? This rebuilds 2 things at once: the hip flexor strength needed to lift your feet clearly off the ground with each step, and the cross-body coordination that is one of the cerebellum's most important jobs. Cross-body movement activates the neural pathways between the 2 hemispheres of the brain, which is essential for smooth, coordinated walking. How to do it? Stand tall behind a sturdy chair with both hands lightly resting on the back. Lift your right knee towards your chest as high as you comfortably can. As your knee rises, tap it with your left hand. Lower the right leg with control, then lift your left knee and tap it with your right hand. That is 1 repetition. Do 10 repetitions on each side, 20 total. Move slowly and deliberately. The tapping hand and the rising knee should meet at exactly the same moment. That precise timing is what trains the cerebellum. Progress tip. Once this feels comfortable, try it without holding the chair. Arms extended to your sides instead. Eventually, try 2 or 3 reps with your eyes closed to deepen the neurological challenge. Exercise 7. Fixed point turn. Why does this matter? Dizziness and disorientation during turning movements. Pivoting in the kitchen, turning to look behind you, getting up and changing direction is one of the most common triggers for falls after 70. This exercise trains exactly that skill by forcing your visual system and your vestibular system to coordinate during rotation, which is precisely the job the cerebellum struggles with when its blood supply is compromised. How to do it? Stand facing a wall with a sturdy chair or countertop nearby. Choose a fixed point at roughly eye level, a light switch, a picture frame, any clear mark on the lock your gaze on that point. Now take 3 slow steps and execute a complete 360-degree turn. During the turn, keep your eyes locked on that fixed point for as long as physically possible. The moment the turn is complete, find that same point again immediately. Do 5 full turns per session. Start very slowly. As this becomes easier over the following weeks, gradually increase the speed of the turn. What to focus on? Do not close your eyes during this one. The entire benefit comes from the active coordination between what your eye sees and what your inner ear feels during the rotation. Stay near the wall, especially in the first week. Exercise 8, multi-direction weight shifts. Why does this matter? Most falls do not happen going straight forward. They happen when you reach sideways, turn slightly, or shift your weight in an unexpected direction. This exercise trains your ability to move your center of gravity in multiple directions and recover back to center, which is the core skill your body needs to catch itself before a stumble becomes a fall. How to do it? Stand behind a sturdy chair with both hands resting lightly on the back, feet hip-width apart, back straight. Slowly shift your weight to your right foot, lifting your left foot just 1 inch off the floor. Hold for 3 seconds. Return to center. Now shift to your left foot, lifting the right foot just 1 inch. Hold for 3 seconds. Return to center. Now shift your weight gently forward onto the balls of your feet, just far enough to feel the challenge without your heels leaving the floor. Hold 3 seconds. Return. Then shift gently backward onto your heels. Hold 3 seconds. Return. That full sequence, right, left, forward, back, is 1 complete round. Do 3 rounds. Progress. Tip. As you get stronger, gradually reduce your grip on the chair, from full hands to fingertips only to no support at all. Each step down forces your ankles, hips, and core to take on more of the stabilizing work. Important safety note. Now that you have seen all 8 exercises, I want to stop for a moment before you begin, because your safety is the most important thing here, and I would never forgive myself if someone got hurt trying to follow along. First, please understand that these exercises are designed for general use by healthy older adults. If you have been diagnosed with a neurological condition such as Parkinson's disease, have a history of stroke, or have been told by a doctor that you have significant vertebral artery disease or severe cervical instability, please speak with your physician or a licensed physical therapist before attempting any of these movements. Your situation may require a modified or closely supervised approach, and that is completely okay. Second, for the neck release exercises specifically, never force any movement. The stretches and rotations in Group 1 should always feel like a gentle, mild pull, never sharp, never pinching, and never accompanied by dizziness or a tingling sensation down your arms. If you feel any of those things, stop immediately and consult your doctor before continuing. The neck is a sensitive area, and patience here will serve you far better than pushing too hard, too fast. Third, for the balance and walking exercises in Group 2, always have something within reach before you start. A wall, a sturdy chair, a countertop. It does not matter which, as long as it is there. And this is not because I expect you to fall. It is because having that safety net nearby lets you train with more confidence and less tension, which actually makes every single exercise more effective. Fourth, never do these exercises in socks on a hard floor. Socks on smooth surfaces are one of the most common causes of slips at home. Go barefoot if you can. It is actually ideal for balance training because it maximizes the sensory feedback your brain receives from the ground. If you prefer footwear, choose shoes with a non-slip sole. Fifth, and most importantly, if at any point during any of these exercises you experience sharp pain, sudden dizziness, a feeling of the room spinning, or anything that simply does not feel right, stop immediately. Do not push through it. There is no movement here worth risking an injury over. Work at your own pace, progress on your own timeline, and let your body tell you when it is ready for more. That is how lasting change is built. Your daily routine. Here is the simplest way to fit all 8 exercises into your day. Every morning, spend 5 minutes on the 3 neck release exercises, the rotation, the side stretch, and the self-massage. Think of this as opening the pathway so your cerebellum can receive what it needs throughout the day. Then, at any point during the day, even in short 2-minute bursts, work through the 5 cerebellum training exercises. The slow-motion walk and heel-to-toe walk can be done in any hallway. The marches, turns, and weight shifts can all be done in a small space next to a chair. The entire routine takes less than 12 minutes total, and this work is best done consistently, a little every day, rather than long sessions once or twice a week. Do not skip the days when you feel steady. Those are actually the most important days of all. Every repetition builds the neural pathway that fires automatically the next time your balance is challenged. You are doing the work now so your body can protect you later, in that split second when it matters most. Closing. The drifting, the wobbling, the reaching for walls, none of that has to be the final chapter. Your cerebellum has not given up. It may simply need better input, better blood flow, and better daily practice. When you give your brain the right challenge consistently, it can respond, slowly, quietly, and steadily. Before you leave this video, remember this. The people who improve the most are not always the ones who push the hardest. They are the ones who show up every day, even when nothing seems to be changing, because the brain often improves before you can feel it. New pathways are being trained, old signals are being reawakened, and then one morning you walk across the kitchen and realize something important. You did not reach for the wall. You simply walked. So, start small today. Do the neck release, try the slow motion walk. That is enough for day 1. Then add one more exercise every few days. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is to teach your body one careful repetition at a time how to trust the ground again. Give yourself 6 weeks of steady practice, and you may begin to feel more control, more confidence, and more trust in your own steps again. And please, do not keep this to yourself. If you know someone who grabs the counter when they stand, avoids walking outside, or feels nervous turning in the hallway, share this video with them. This simple information may help them feel safer, steadier, and more independent. One more thing before you go. Balance is only one part of fall prevention. The next piece is leg strength. Even when your balance improves, your legs still need the power to catch you in that split second when it matters most. That is why I made a dedicated video on safe leg strengthening exercises for people over 70. No gym, no equipment, and easy to follow at home. That video is on the screen right now. Click it next, and I will walk you through it step by step. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.